Hello boys and girls. Today we're going to be talking about book snobbery. Hi guys, it's Jess, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be taking part in the book snob tag. I saw Gabby read do this and I thought it would be a fun little video to do, just a bit of a talking point, and we're going to find out if I'm a book snob or not. There are 7 questions for me to answer, and the first question is, do you always read the book before you see the movie? I used to be an adaptation snob, I'm not gonna lie. I remember when The Fault in Our Stars came out and I couldn't go and see it until I had read the book. I did the same thing for Twilight. That came out and I didn't watch it until I'd read all 4 books in the series. Not so much anymore though. I don't mind if I read the book after I've seen the film or before. I think the only other time I did that was when Game of Thrones was around and all of my friends had watched like the first 3 seasons and they were telling me to watch it, and I couldn't watch it until I'd read the books because I am that kind of person that likes to know everything going into something like that, and I did like the fact that I knew what was going to happen before everybody else. But these days I just don't really care that much. I mean, if there is a movie coming out and there's a book, I would read it, but I don't prioritise reading the book before the film now. I don't mind which way I do it. I'm just happy to be reading and watching a good movie. The second question is, you can only choose one format in which to read books for the rest of your life. Which one do you choose? Physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks? There's this thing going around where if you read ebooks, you're not a proper reader. You have to read a physical book to be a proper reader. Same with audiobooks. People don't think that audiobooks is considered reading, and I used to be of that latter category. I used to think if you're listening to an audiobook, you're cheating. But this year I have been getting into audiobooks a lot more, and I can totally understand why people opt for audiobooks. This is gonna break my heart because I love a physical book in my hand. There's nothing nicer than having a hard copy of a book in your hand and you can smell all the pages and the cover's really pretty. But I think I'm swaying towards audiobooks now because I can get through so many books really quickly while I am doing other things. Like, I listen to audiobooks when I'm out walking. If I'm doing a long distance car journey, I'll listen to an audiobook. If I'm doing the house chores, if I'm chilling in bed, if I'm sitting in the bath and I don't want to get the book wet, I just listen to the audiobook. So I think I would choose audiobooks. If you think about it, when you were a kid and you couldn't read, your parents would read you stories. You're still consuming that story. You're still engaging with the characters. It's not really any different. So yeah, I would say audiobooks. So am I a format snob? The third question is, would you date a non-reader? Well, I am already in a relationship with somebody that doesn't read, and I'm okay with it. I've been trying to get him to read. I bought him a book last year that I really want to read actually, but he said it sounded really interesting and he wanted to give it a go, and he has read about 30 pages of it in the last year, but he's not really into reading. He's more into his computers and gaming and that kind of thing. So it'd be nice if he did, because then we could swap books and talk about books together and recommend books to each other, and that just isn't a thing in our house. I mean, he likes comic books, he has a lot of those, but... Question 4 is, you have to ditch one genre, never to be read again for the rest of your life. Which one do you ditch? And this is a hard question and I don't really want to answer it. I mean, I love thrillers, so I'm never going to ditch thrillers, and I like horrors, I'm never going to ditch those. I like fantasy, I'm never going to ditch fantasy because Game of Thrones and Harry Potter are just too good. I think the genre I would ditch would be contemporary, just because I don't read it that much and a lot of it doesn't really interest me. There are some contemporary books that I like. and I'm not going to say I outright hate it because I don't, but it's not the one that I am that fussed about. So if you're a contemporary fan, I'm very sorry. So yeah, it would have to be contemporary. It's tough because I like a lot of books, I read a lot of stuff, so to just say to get rid of one it's hard. So question 5 is, you can only choose to read from one genre for the rest of your life. What genre would that be? Well, I'm not going to say thrillers. Even though thrillers are my favourite genre, I feel like after I've read the majority of thrillers, I'm reading the same thing over again. And I'm not saying that every thriller is the same, because they're not. But there's only so much that you can do with thrillers, I think. I don't know. I really don't know. I think I would pick fantasy because fantasy is my first love. Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Twilight, all of those were books that I grew up on, fell in love with, got me reading in the first place. I would pick fantasy because it's nice to escape to a different world that's not relatable to my own, and to, see different places and experience magic and dragons and all of those mythical creatures that I love. I'm obsessed with vampires, so I'd never give that up. Yeah, I would pick fantasy, I think. But I don't like that question. That question's horrible. Question 6 is, which genre do you think receives the most snobbery from the bookish community? I'm going to be honest, and I think it's the romance community that gets a lot of snobbery from other readers. I feel really bad for people that like romance. I like romance. I like the hard romance that you get, all the smutty stuff. I love that. I like all of the cute young adult romances as well. So I understand how people feel when someone says to you, "Ugh, you like romance. Romance is horrible. You're nasty. You're horny," and all of that. And just, leave us alone. Romance is okay. If you want to read romance, go and read romance. If you want to read fantasy or sci-fi, go and read that. Doesn't really matter. Also, I feel like there's a lot of snobbery towards non-fiction readers as of late, particularly people my age that read non-fiction. I'm 24 and I've told people that I started reading non-fiction and they're all like, "Isn't that boring? Wouldn't you rather read something more exciting?" And non-fiction can be exciting. I've learned a lot reading non-fiction. If you find the right book and you find the right subject that you're interested in, non-fiction's great. So there's that as well. But I don't really see it that much. I haven't really come across anything like that on BookTube yet, but I know in the future when my account gets bigger, hopefully, I might experience some of that. I think some of you guys might have, and it needs to stop because we're all reading and everybody likes different things. It doesn't really matter. Let's all just be friends. Let's all just share the book love. So the last question is, have you ever been snubbed for something that you have been reading or for reading in general? Twilight's one of those. I admitted to somebody that I liked the books and they just kind of said, "You're weird." I don't really see what's wrong with liking the books. Okay, granted, Twilight has a lot of issues and the books aren't great and Stephanie Meyer isn't the best author in the world, but I like it, it's fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's fucking fantasy, for God's sake. And yeah, the vampires sparkle, and I have a little bit of an issue with that because I prefer the more traditional vampire, and Bella is a pretty weak character, but the whole story is just so full of adventure and fun that I can't hate it. I can't. And so yeah, I had a friend not disown me, but just kind of think of me a bit differently when I said I like Twilight, and also been snubbed by people because I read non-fiction, and they basically said I was a boring person because I read non-fiction, but it isn't really any of your business what I read. And if I like to read non-fiction, then I like to read non-fiction. Yeah, I think those are the two instances. But I haven't really experienced any major snobbery from people. And another thing as well is with audiobooks. When I told a friend that I listened to audiobooks, they said I was cheating, which I kind of used to think that about people that listen to audiobooks as well. But don't snub or be a snob to someone because they listen to audiobooks. Wow, so that was all of the questions on the Book Snob tag. If you want to get involved, I'll put all the questions in the description below for you guys. This video isn't meant to be taken seriously, it's just a bit of fun. My answers weren't amazing, but let's just create a little bit of a conversation. So what are your thoughts to any of these questions? Put them in the comments below, and also go and check out some other Book Snob tag videos because there'll be a lot of differing opinions. It's a very interesting subject, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Bye guys.